What's up, guys? Welcome back to a new podcast. Today I am with a very good friend of mine, also a old team member from Aero, AvgJoeyyy. I know him as Seth, and yeah. First of all, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we have been catching up a little bit before the podcast started because it's literally been we have been talking in Twitter DMs from time to time, catching up, but it felt different. So, hi, it's good to have you. So, for the people that don't know you, please explain. Who are you? What do you
Uh,
do?
so my alias is Average Joe, but I just tell people they can call me Seth. Um, Started out as a content creator way back in like 2016. Joined Aero shortly after I started creating content on YouTube, and from there went on to Orbit for a little bit. I was dual rostering for a little bit as a content creator, um, and I was with Aero till like 20. I want to say it was early 2020 is when I left.
I think
And then
so.
I left Oregon back in like 2019 too. So I was in both teams for a little while. But yeah, I was in Aero for a long time, and then took kind of a break from teams for a little bit, for the most part, and was trying to focus on like building my own brand. But I kept like wanting that feeling of a team back, and never really knew. I couldn't really find any places that like I really felt like I would call home the way I called Aero home before. So I went and decided to create my own organization and kind of more focused on the eSports side. It is called Maineiacs eSports. It's a Maine-based eSports organization because that's where I grew up and that's where I'm from. So yeah, it's eSports and content. Still small right now. We've been active since 2021. And I was just saying to Royal earlier, it's a lot of highs and lows with the org over the last couple of years, but we're still trucking, and that's been my main focus lately. Is just working on that, building that up, getting that brand out there.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, how does it feel to own your own team now? Because, like you said, you've been in a few teams before. You've been in Aero before, so you already knew a little bit how it was to uh, be in a team, be around people, and of course you've seen a couple of stuff from me, what we did, how we did it. But yeah, what type of esports do you guys have, and how does it feel to have your own team?
So right now we have a Valorant roster that's competing in a weekly league, and a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Melee. We actually have one Melee player, um, and currently I think two active Ultimate players. But at one point we had like four, but they're in college, so they kind of keep in and out with focusing on competing and whatnot. But no, it feels awesome. I mean, it's definitely, to really be consistent with it is a lot of work, um, and I can't say that I'm always consistent with it. I'd be lying if I said I was. But luckily, I've got a good team of management to help me out. Um, I got to give props to Blue Jay, our hunter. He's one of the co-owners with me. He's been doing he's been doing a lot behind the scenes lately, um, to putting money up for things and organizing stuff. We actually have kind of like a pretty cool announcement coming out. I would assume it's relatively soon. It's going to come out, so I would keep an eye out for that. But yeah, I mean, it's fun to come up with those ideas. Like when I first was trying to come up with what I wanted to call the team and what I wanted it to be about, I was really struggling with something that had meaning to me. Like I was just kind of throwing out names and they just didn't hit the way I wanted them to because there was nothing behind it. It was just like a name that sounded cool. And I kind of looked towards the teams that I idolize, and the people behind them, to see like why do I like these teams so much and why do they have such a reach. And some of the examples would be like 100Thieves with Nade Shot, Optic Gaming, obviously with Hex and what he's built, and Kansas City Pioneers, which honestly I would say KCP is probably the biggest inspiration for how I built Maineiacs. And I actually was super awesome. Got the opportunity to tell them that when I went to the HCS Kansas City LAN. I got
It's
to meet
pretty dope.
LJ, Mark. Yeah, dude, it was an awesome experience. Got to speak with LJ and Mark quickly, and was like, guys, I made this org, and I did it a lot because of you, because they represent Kansas City, and they do it so well. I wanted to represent where I'm from, and kind of put Maine on the map for esports, and have like that local um, community, local support from people that I know and people that love to rep their state as well. So that was a huge part. That's why Kansas City Pioneers was a huge part of why I named it Maineiacs. So yeah.
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, I mean, yeah. I have been a part for it as well. Only thing I was not from your place as well. It didn't took long, but yeah, I told you beforehand I was at that point. I still am very busy with Aero, and I also knew it beforehand before I joined your team organization. Of course, like I said, I don't know if I can split my time,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna be honest, bro. You are doing a great job, or you guys over there doing a great job. You guys are doing a lot better than I expected from a startup team. I'm not
Thank you.
gonna lie. At first, I was like not doubting, but I was more curious. Like, okay, I want to know how this goes because I knew you had a passion for esports. I know you made content for yourself as well, and that you can make stuff happen if you really want to. So, I was quite surprised. Like, okay, I want to know how this goes. And you guys are killing it. Like,
Thank
honestly,
you.
honestly, you
Yeah.
guys are doing amazing.
Like I said, I've got a good team. Hunter's been a great, business partner with doing a lot of this stuff. Because when I first started it, it was me and Ahawk plays or Alex. We'd started it together, and we were the only two like co-owners. And he was focused on actually trying to compete in Rocket League at the time. So the goal was to try to build a Rocket League team around him, um, while he was also trying to work out getting some content creators. And I was just trying to do too much at once. Like, I wanted a Rocket League team, I wanted a Call of Duty team, I wanted a Rainbow Six team, I wanted an Apex team, I wanted a Valorant team. Like, I was myself was trying to put together 5 different rosters in 5 different titles,
I can relate
and
to that.
it was just like
It's
it
a
was too much.
mess.
Yeah, and not being able to find anybody who wanted to take on a manager role for any of those rosters was the worst part. Because my goal was, if I can find a Valorant manager, it's done. Like, they can pick up the players and then just tell me what they need, and I can do that. But I couldn't find anybody to fill that role for any of those teams, so I was still trying to do it all myself. And when the Rainbow Six roster kind of fell through, I'd already talked to Hunter a little bit because he was actually the Rainbow Six captain at his college, and so he was going to be captain for our team. And when that stuff just kind of fell through, I spoke to him about like maybe wanting to help on the management side, and he was super down to help. And eventually, like, we got to the point where I was like, I'm going to ask Hunter if he wants to become part owner, because he definitely has the passion for this team specifically. Like, he wants this team to succeed because he believes in the vision. Um, so yeah, ever since he's been management slash owner, things have been going pretty well. And brought another friend of mine on to be an owner as well, to help with the investment side of things, more or less. And he's been like more than helpful with wanting to throw money at things. Um, and like, he again believes in the vision, which is great. Like, that's the biggest thing I need, is for people to just want to get Maineiacs noticed in the state and outside of the state too. But most importantly, like, we want to build that community with like our local demographic before really trying to like branch out. So
Yeah, kind of like I have with Tim and with Future. Those guys have been around for years as well. Tim has been a co-owner now as well. Because, yeah, he's been around for so long, and he has been, like you said, he knows the vision, he has the passion.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes you are lucky having those people joining your team that really have a passion and really want to build something that you started. Like, I cannot explain how much it means to me when someone joins my team and just has this passion. Like, I don't want to only bring myself up, but I want to bring this team up as well. It's just knowing that I made it and someone else has the same passion and drive to push it out as well. It's just, I don't know how to describe it. It's special, special.
Yeah, man, that was definitely like a feeling that I had when I joined Aero too. You know, like I really wanted to make that when I was the director of content. Like that was a big goal, was to get other creators that were like-minded to help you know grow that content team forward and just really start grinding.
Hey,
And
let's be honest. That time that you were with us and the director of content, we did made a lot of content. If even if it was streaming wise, highlights wise, or whatsoever, we did. You did good. You did good.
thank you, man. I mean, it still wasn't even as much as I wanted to do, but I'm glad I at least made a mark. I would have hated to have been director of content and not get anything done.
Bro,
Um,
I'm gonna be honest. You are one of those persons in the past that made this team what it is today, or made it possible for me to make it what it is this day.
but I
So
appreciate it, man.
yeah, no
Really.
problem. So now we are on the topic of esports and content as well. I know that you are esports manager for a other team as well.
Yeah. So I got brought on to this team called Lightning Kings Gaming. It's a New York-based team. It's a couple of New York college students that own it, and they brought me on to try to bolster their esports side some. It was a position I applied for because I wanted to try to get some more experience on that side of things, like just focusing mainly on like building rosters instead of trying to do like business side of stuff on top of it. So I've been with them for a couple months now, and it's been kind of slow moving because again they're looking at a COD team, and it's just been the same thing with like trying to pick people up, and they just don't. They're not patient. Um, Went through like probably 10 or 12 different people in the last couple of weeks trying to ask them if they want to join. They're like yes, and then 2 days later it's no. And while I'm trying to build the rest of the roster out, they're telling me they don't want to play anymore. So it's just been kind of a shit show.
Man,
So
like we discussed earlier, dealing with Call of Duty players is like, out of all esports, Call of Duty players are like in the top two of probably the most brain deadest people that you have around. Like,
yeah,
actually,
it's
it's,
just more frustrating than it has to be.
I know,
It's
and it's literally that mentality that a lot of those players have in Call of Duty scene that doesn't gonna bring them anything or not even far.
mm,
But hey, that's my take on it.
yeah, no, totally agree with that. But yeah, I mean, I want to, like I said, get more experience in that side of things and try to make more connections with people, like different players and different managers and stuff. So that's a big reason why I took that on. Um, yeah, I mean, that's the piece on that, I guess. I don't
Fair
know what to
enough.
say about it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. So you like it, or is it more like I'm still learning and I have to see it?
Um, yeah, I'm definitely still kind of learning how to like tighten up on the communication with those players and with the org too, because I feel like sometimes because literally the only management on the org is me and the two owners right now, and we're not talking as constantly as like me and people in Maineiacs, because we're talking almost every day in the Maineiacs Discord about different stuff, even if it's just bullshitting. Like we're at least in touch with each other, you know.
Maniac different.
But it's been. I mean, they're cool guys. They're good to work with. I think we all could probably work on our communication a little bit better. Is the biggest thing.
Man, that is probably maybe it's true. I don't know. I cannot speak for that, but I know for sure that I can even I can still work on my communication with people. I suck at it. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, anybody can always work on communicating better. I feel like there's no end to improving, especially like those interpersonal skills as a someone who's trying to be an entrepreneur. You know,
Hmm.
um, you can never stop trying to better yourself as a communicator and as a business person. So
That is true. That is true. So with Maniacs, what are you guys more planning, or what are you guys more doing aside from esports? Because I think that maybe with the podcast we can make a few people interested in helping or joining. You never know. So I'm just asking, like aside from esports, what do you guys, what you guys, man, what do you guys do more for?
um, no, you're good, man. Um, One of the big things that we really want to push for right now is content because we only have a couple content creators, and they've both been kind of on a weird like hiatus. So we're gonna try to start them back up and get some more people in to really help get our name out there and make us more visible. But besides that, um, a big thing I've been wanting to do personally, and I know Hunter's been um, pretty on board with it, has been trying to do some apparel, doing like some casual like street apparel and stuff because we just opened that new store for our esports gear with the we got a long sleeve jersey now. We got sleeves um, and joggers. I think that's all that's in the store at this moment, and that stuff's all looking great. I haven't got to buy any of it for myself yet, so I don't really know like the ins and outs of it. But it's from Raven, so it's I would assume it's pretty high quality. I trusted Hunter on his opinion because he has gone with Arma and Raven with different jersey purchases, and he said that Raven was better quality. So um, I'm assuming it's going to be pretty sweet when I do get it. Um, but doing like some street apparel, some stuff that we can really customize and hopefully get people not only in the Maineiacs circle, but outside of that and outside of the gaming space to be interested in would be awesome. And that we would use a lot of that, any revenue from stuff like that, we would use to just put back into the org and try to get more stuff going with that money.
Mm-hmm. So, are you still doing content on yourself? I know you stream from time to time.
Yeah, I'm still on the fence with stuff like that. I mean, I tried to grind it. I was doing pretty good back in like December when I was grinding Call of Duty, and I was getting out some good TikToks. I was getting out some long form content. I was streaming a lot. It was like right where I wanted to be in terms of doing content, schedule wise at least, and productivity wise. But I was off work for like 2 whole weeks during that time, so I literally had all the time in the world to do it. And as soon as I went back to work, I realized how little time I have to be able to get all that stuff accomplished and still focus on Maineiacs. And it just wasn't really working. So I've kind of, I've streamed here and there, like you said. I try to stick to a schedule if I do stream. I'll still stream on like the same days and during the same time, even if it's not super consistent. Um, but TikTok, I haven't put one up in a few weeks, and YouTube, I haven't thrown up a long form video in a little bit. But I did try to start up the new IRL channel. I threw up one video on there. It's just kind of like, it's almost like a mini podcast, I guess. Like it's not really a full-on vlog. It's just kind of me like talking about stuff, Maineiacs related, more or less, or like just anything within my like content umbrella. Hoping to get another video up probably soon on that to talk about a lot of the stuff I've been talking about here with Maineiacs because I haven't had an update on that in a little while. And then a new thing that I'm trying to get into is golf content. Actually, I started playing golf a couple years ago, and I love playing it. And I started watching more varieties of golf content. I don't know if you know who Daltouche is, the Apex player.
Don't ask me anything about golf.
No, he's an Apex streamer for TSM, but he has a second channel where he plays golf, and so like I actually don't watch his gaming content at all, and I only found him because he played golf with Nate Shot, and that video got recommended to me, and so I found like his content through that, and I vibe with his golf content, and I was like, I want to try to do something like that. So that's kind of like my next venture. I actually just went and bought new golf clubs today, waiting for him to come in, and we'll see how that goes.
Sounds interesting. I might check it out. I might check it out. If you send it to me, I'll definitely check it out. That's for
Oh,
sure.
absolutely.
So, I know that you are keeping up with a lot of esports stuff because we have talked before and you was talking about some esports. I know that I tried to keep up to date, but bro, you came up with some stuff that I was like, I did not know that. So, I don't know if you have heard about all the drama regarding esports at the moment, like all the teams having layoffs and, people who just basically screaming, saying the esports bubble has, busted.
Yeah.
So I know you and your team do esports a lot. So I was kind of thinking, wondering like, what is your touch or yeah about it like
Man, to be honest, I haven't. I've almost tried to stay away from reading about the bubble popping, just because I don't want to think that that's where esports is going, and I honestly don't think that that's where it's gonna go. I think esports is here to stay. There's definitely gonna be lows to it, much like right now. I feel like it's kind of a low for esports,
mm-hmm.
but I think it's gonna be here forever because people are always gonna want to compete, especially if they can't compete traditionally. They're gonna want to compete online. So I know recently Optic actually uploaded a podcast where that was like the theme of it. The title was like, "Did the esports bubble pop?" or whatever, something clickbaity like that. Um, and Hex was basically saying like, esports is fine. It's just some people in the industry either don't know how esports works or they don't know how business works, and they're throwing too much money into certain unsustainable parts of it because they don't know one or the other side of it. You've got all these people in suits that run FaZe now. They don't know a thing about esports or the space, and that's why their stock is literally like less than $1 right now.
Oh
And
man,
that's why
those
that
those stocks went
they
down bad.
horrible. And
Man.
then you got teams like 100Thieves where they did have to lay some people off, but they're still able to afford their Valorant team, and they're still able to afford their championship winning Call of Duty team, and they're still able to be a successful organization because they have their other revenues of their apparel, which I was just looking earlier. They just had their golf capsule drop today with polos and a hat or a couple hats or whatever. It sold out in less than 10 minutes. It dropped at 2 p.m. my time, Central Time, and it was sold out at 2:07 when I was looking at it. So they're in no shortage of like needing money in that regard. Juvie is always like doing well for them. That's 100 Thieves umbrella company.
Yep.
High Ground, they're always selling out of keyboards at High Ground because they understand a business aspect. Nate has Nate has surrounded himself with smart business people, and he's a smart esports person,
True.
and therefore work together and create.
I'm gonna be honest, I have so much respect for the group that nature built around himself. Like
Absolutely.
if he did if he has done a lot of great things with 100 Thieves, there's no denying that. But the group that he made around him, helping him make 100 Thieves, do the business side, do the content side, no matter which side, in my opinion, he has made 90% of the perfect choices. Like,
Absolutely.
if I could pick people around me, I would love to have people surrounding me and my team with the same mindset and the same mentality and the same smartness or how smart they are. I would love to have a team like that surrounding me.
100%. Yeah. I mean, he's
Definitely.
done very well for himself.
And I'm not gonna lie, regarding the esports bubble, I believe there is an esports bubble, just like you said that Heck said in his podcast, like there are people in business suits. They don't know where to spend the money, or they don't know what esports is, or they don't know the business. I totally agree. I also 100% agree. Esports is here to stay. No matter what people will say, yes, it's gonna have highs, it's gonna have downs, but regular sports have that as well. Some seasons go all the way up, and another season it's a little bit more down.
Hmm.
But I actually, because I have been paying a lot of attention to it lately, especially lately with it's almost no denying it, because if you go on YouTube, Twitter, it's almost instantly getting shoved into your face like esports bubble, esports bubble, esports
Yeah.
bubble. And what I noticed is a pattern of basically also a lot of teams not knowing how to manage esports themselves as well. Because I have heard some deals like players getting salaries, which is fine, I totally agree on. But let's say they win 100 or like a 1 million prize pool, like the organization only takes like 10% and everything else goes to the players. Like, I get it, they should deserve a bit of the prize earning because, hey, they made it happen, of course, but they also already have a salary.
Hmm.
Weeks and months that they don't play, they still get paid. So,
Yeah.
giving them 90% of like the 1 million, that means the organization is left with 100k. There is no way in making profit in any esports if you do it like that, you know?
No. And I think that is that's a tough one to me because if you take away, you know, say you split it 50-50 even, well, 50 is being split three, four, five ways depending on the game that it's in, and that
True.
could get small very quickly. And
True, but you also
that,
have to remind they have salaries as well. Eh? Let's take
right,
Valorant for example. I have heard some players make 25k a month, and I have
I
heard
think that's too
prices
much, to be
of the
honest.
lowest people per player get 5k a month, which is pretty decent, but I still find that a lot. Like, you can be in a B tier Valorant organization and you get paid 5k. No
Which
innings, nothing. And
straight up, that's more than I make a month, and I get
mate,
benefits and shit.
I'm
And
not
it's
gonna
like,
lie. I live in the Netherlands. I work at a fast food chain. I make like a little above 1k a month. And then I have a wife and I have a baby daughter.
hmm.
So give me 5k and mate,
I'm
trust me,
I'm looking
I will make sure that you go look at me like he is worth 5k. This motherfucker is gonna give me a championship for the 5k. Trust
yeah.
me, I will practice. Most pros say we practice 8 hours a week or a day for 5k a month. Mate, I will be grinding my ass off like 14 hours a day. I will be like, these motherfuckers pay me 5k. I better be worth it. I better get to winning.
Hmm.
And as organization owner, I'm not gonna lie, I would still think the same. Like, if I pay you 5k a month, you better be fucking worth it. I'm not gonna
Right.
lie. Because for me, it's a lot. No matter if I only have a couple thousand in my team or a couple millions. 5k is still life changing money a month for a lot of people.
Hmm.
So I think that regarding the esports bubble, I think it is there. I think it needs to burst regarding player contracts and stuff, because like I said, how you gonna pay five people and then also a coach and other stuff, 5k a month, and if you win a championship or whatsoever, any tournament, you give them 90%. You keep 10. There is no point in making a profit. If I would say if you make 50-50, yes, for the players and everything, it would be a small portion. But they still get paid when your team or when your organization basically is not competing.
I just think taking that that percentage down would almost eliminate the incentive for them to win. You know, if I'm not gonna make like a big bonus for winning this tournament, what's the point in winning?
True,
In a
but
way,
if you look at
for some players, I feel like not every player would be that way. Some people just want to win because they want to know that they're the best, but some of them want to win because that
true,
money comes.
and I don't blame them for the money, but if you look at traditional sports, yes, they get bonuses as well. But if let's take football or soccer, depending where you live. For you, it's soccer. For me, it's football. So let's take soccer. Yes, if they go to a tournament, and let's say they make 20 million. Yes, someone who scores gets a bonus. For esports it's different, of course, because if you have Valorant or Call of Duty, everybody makes kills, everybody jumps on an objective, so it's hard to
Yeah,
pick how and who gets a bonus, who doesn't.
yeah,
But let's imagine if a soccer team goes to a championship, it at least takes like 16 people with them. If they win, let's imagine if they split 90% over all those people, including the manager, the coach, other staff,
hmm
then there also would be no money for anyone. I think for esports, players should get a bonus, but I think a player should actually deserve it and not because, let's say, three people carry that whole team to a tournament. Two people have a very bad tournament run. They still get rewarded for for basically not doing their part as much.
yeah,
You feel me? So I think a bonus should be a praise when a player is awarded, like when he plays MVP of multiple maps, or when they, let's say you reward them for two things, like or three, IGL for who carried the most in the game, you know,
hmm
who played the objective most and who had the most MVPs. That means you have three people out of the five who get a bonus. Basically, with management or staff or coaches, you can say like, okay, you won. We're gonna give you 2K extra this week because you won. In my opinion, you can. People can say, but you made hundreds of thousands or a million out of it. True, but that is the business part of it. You still give people a bonus, what in my opinion should be rewarded, of course, but you should not reward them too crazy because I have heard some people's salaries that I'm actually like, bro, how many millions he make a day for
right.
playing video games?
It's crazy, and you got to think a lot of these guys are streaming too, and already making thousands and thousands off of their stream, on
Exactly,
top of millions that they're making a year for being a salaried player. It's
exactly,
crazy.
and most organizations don't even take a cut of what those players make of the streaming or content.
Yeah,
I mean, if you look at Aero, if we sign a competitive team, we give them a contract. We don't gonna say like, okay, you guys represent our team. If you go live and you get a donation, or you make YouTube or TikTok revenue, you're gonna give us 5 or 10%. No, you work for it, you keep it.
right.
But hey, when we enter esports, I literally talk with the people that we wanna sign about this type of stuff. Like, okay, look, I can give a salary. It's not gonna be much. It's gonna be maybe a couple $100 if you're lucky a month. Or, but then I'd be like, but you guys will then only receive 30-40% of prize earnings if you guys win.
Yeah, that's fair.
And some people tell me like, okay, we want a salary, so it costs me a couple $100 a month for a full roster, which still is pretty cheap, but we are not a big team organization. We don't play in the CDL or Valorant championships and that type of stuff.
Yeah, the way we've been doing it is because obviously we can't afford those salaries either, especially for like a Valorant team where you have a 5 or 6 man roster, depending on if you have a sub or not. Um, what we do is we'll pay for entry fees for tournaments and leagues and stuff,
Yeah, we
and
do.
basically we're like, yeah, if we pay for that, we just ask for the cost plus the 10% back when you guys are done. You guys split the rest. That's it. If you make any money. If you don't make any money, then it's fine. Like, just, you don't have to pay us back. Um, and right now, for our Smash team, we're actually giving them a $40 stipend each month, and they can use that $40 to enter tournaments because they do like weeklies in Southern Maine, and it's like a $10 tournament or $5 entry or something like that. So if our guys walk away with $25 off of that, we just take the $5 back at the end of the month or whatever, plus like whatever else, the 10% of whatever else they made throughout the month, and they might get $150 and we get like 20, but that 20 is going to go back into either their stipend or towards something else for us to do in some other way. Like, eventually we'll save up enough to buy them a jersey or something, and they can rep that, or we can get new GFX for the team as a whole, or whatever. It's not going into our pocket, that's for sure. It's going back into the org somehow, and that's been working so far. We've been doing that for, I want to say, actually, I think for Smash we just started doing that this month, but for Valorant, I mean, we've done that for other teams too in the past with like Halo. We had a Halo team where we had a league that they played in. It was like a $35 entry fee. We just covered it. They lost in playoffs, so they didn't make any money, so we didn't ask for anything back. But if they would have won, we would have made like maybe 20 extra bucks off of it. Like, not a big deal. But it's also not big investments in the first place anyway. It's less than $100 for most of this stuff. So
True, and that is where I also think that it sounds crazy at this point. Maybe for some big teams it's of course otherwise. Like if you look at 100Thieves, Optic, it's another story of course. Those guys, TSM most likely is profitable as well for what I have heard. I'm not sure. 100Thieves I'm not doubting. I'm pretty sure they are profitable. But I think regarding esports now, like I feel like low tier esports leagues and tournaments and teams are a better way of being sustainable than having like a top tier organizations team signed, because maybe it's harder to deal with the smaller players because of course you have to think about their normal lifestyle, school, work, all that type of stuff. But I feel like in a sense of making money, being profitable, that the biggest chances as a team being profitable or doing good in esports is like at this point is just basically doing low tier tournaments and low tier leagues, because it costs nothing to enter. Basically you can make a deal with players, like if you guys win you get a cut of the winnings, if not then not.
yeah,
But it's also a bigger gamble, but that's also the same with big esports teams. Like if you look at traditional sports and esports, traditional sports have a lot of roster changes, but in esports, man, it looks like a fucking loose end MMA fight where the whole crowd is jumping in and everybody just starts smacking everybody.
Yeah, it's crazy how it's crazy how quickly fans will jump to blame a certain player for a loss and tell them to, get rid of that player. When
That,
it's
but also
like,
how are some teams making a champion roster? They win a champions roster and then next season they replace like 2 or 3 people, like, and then they expect to win the tournament. That is
that's one thing I've noticed. I mean, that happens a lot in traditional sports too. Like, I see it a lot with baseball specifically, um, and the same with on the other side of that coin where I was saying that they jump on people for like doing bad. Is like, I couldn't imagine if, for example, if anybody watching this is a baseball fan, if like let's just say Max Scherzer pitches one bad game. I mean, he's one of the most dominant pitchers in the MLB in MLB history. But if he had one bad game and people were calling for his team to trade him for someone else, like, that would be ridiculous. So I just don't understand how that thing actually does happen in esports, when like the same thing happened with Hook and Optic. He had one bad game. Like, he joined the team, did well for like their qualifiers, and then on LAN he didn't play so great, and they were like, drop Hook, and I was like, why? Like they already had that situation with Pred. They couldn't get Pred the way they wanted to, or whatever, because I think Seattle Surge was giving them a hard time about it. But like they still were holding on to that hope that they could get Pred if they dropped Hook, and it just wasn't going to happen. But like I don't, you know, you see the same thing with traditional sports, like I was saying, where they win a championship and a bunch of people get dropped or get traded or whatever because their contract was up. They were only on like a 1-year contract, so now they just won the World Series or they just won the Super Bowl, and now they want to get on a different team and get paid more money because everybody's contracts are basically going to go up on this team. So this, that, and the other. And yeah, I do see it a lot in esports. And unfortunately, the way Call of Duty has been going the last 4 years or so, it's kind of made it hard to keep a team together. Because first we had the 5-man rosters, and Dallas Empire wins a championship, and then the next year they go back to 4-man rosters, and now Dallas Empire has to cut one of their championship-winning players. And it didn't really work out for them. Didn't work out on either side of the coin, really, because Crimsix struggled with New York when he left, and Dallas couldn't keep up with FaZe. You know, it was kind of a shit show all around. But yeah, I mean, a good example of a team that I feel like is truly like, one, good friends, two, just like they know they can win together, so why would they break it up? Is the Optic Halo team. I mean, they've ever since Formal joined, they've been, you know, top 2, top 3 every LAN, winning the last 4 LANs, winning online tournaments, and.
But then I also feel like Optic is a whole different story.
Yeah, also true. Yeah,
because
Optic isn't looking to just get rich quick. That's the thing. A lot of these other orgs are looking to make money quick, and they're just trying to swap out player for player to see who's just gonna, you know, the same as like the COD mentality we're talking about, is they just want somebody cracked off it, and they're not looking to put in the work. Whereas I feel like Optic is really trying to foster something good. I mean, picking up Ghosty is a great example of that because, I mean, a team like Optic Gaming picking up a Challengers player is like, it's unreal, honestly. Like, that was probably the last thing anybody expected, especially with them wanting to get Pred instead of Hook in the first place. You would think, oh, they're going to get Pred now with Skunk retiring. And now they pick up a Challengers player, and it's not Censor. You know, like, obviously I was just trolling with that. They wouldn't pick up Censor, but it's just... It's just wild to think, and he's killing it. You know, he's doing great. I don't think you would see LA Thieves picking up a Challengers player at this point. They would be looking to pick up Stotzi or Hydra or a Clayster or somebody like that, you know, that can really command and has that experience. So I think that was a good example of like how Optic is, you know, different from these other teams in that regard.
True, but yeah, I noticed that Optic is also one of those organizations that makes the less roster changes. Like, they believe in their roster and they actually, like, for example, the Call of Duty team. If one team has been consistent in most tournaments or throughout every league, it's been Optic. And the reason why is because they make barely any roster changes, and when they do, they basically just switch one guy around.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that is basically what I said about traditional sports and esports. Like, traditional sports also change people around. But if their team is not doing well, like soccer for example, they are not directly switching like 8, 9, 10 people around just to make a whole switch. They look at 2, 3 people, maybe 4, and then they'd be like, okay, let's try it out now. Let's see how it goes. And I feel like Optic is doing that as well, instead of any other organization that's like, okay, this roster doesn't work. This guy is doing his best. We don't care. Get him out of here. This guy is doing his worst. Get him out of here as well. Just get everybody out. We'll just pick up 5 new men. or 4 new men. And Optic on the other hand is like, okay, something isn't clicking, and Hex is probably talking with all the players, like maybe one on one and with everyone together, like, okay, what's not working? He listens, and then he probably makes that change.
Yeah, I think the transparency of Optic is something that's super notable too. I mean, there's very few orgs that I follow where I know that their CEO is directly making decisions and also talking to the players that are involved in those decisions. You know, I know Nadeshot does it with his players. He's in there talking to his guys. I know Hex does it. And those are pretty much the only two where I know for a fact that their CEOs are in there telling their players what's up. You know, if there's going to be a change, they're not leaving it up to one of the management people. Like, they're calling them, they're talking in group calls with the other players. They're making sure everybody's on the same page before anything happens. And I don't think a lot of other orgs are doing that. Just based on the transparency of it, you know. I mean, Hector's doing podcasts with them, and where they're all talking about this whole Dashy situation, where he essentially didn't even know if he was even on Optic anymore for a short period of time, and Hector is calling him up and telling him like, hey, no, like, we need you back and all this stuff, and like the transparency with his players, the transparency with his fans, and all that is just like, it fosters a better community within the organization. I feel like a lot of people in that organization, whether they're a player, a manager, or staff member outside of the eSports side of it, they're still pretty close with each other. They all know each other. They all support each other. And I just don't at least see it from other orgs. It could happen, and it's just not out there, like how 100Thieves and how Optic put it out there. But I just don't see it happening, so I feel like it's probably not the case with them, and when you foster that kind of a community within your own workspace, people want to stay, and I think that's probably the biggest part of it, is they really treat each other like family, and it makes people want to stay and want to work together to win for that team, because it feels like there's something to play for rather than just playing, you know?
Yep, I gotta agree with that one. I gotta agree. Well, with 100 Thieves is sometimes 50-50. One moment they're transparent, and other moment you are like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Or then you are like, what? I didn't saw that one coming.
Yeah.
Or
And
or then they give an explanation and you just like,
it's
okay.
kind of half-assed.
Yeah, just like, okay, it's what it is, I guess.
Hmm.
But man, not every esports team is doing it well.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, man. Is there something that you want to discuss or talk about, actually?
Man, I probably should have prepared a little bit better and come up with a couple points to talk about, but I didn't.
Man, I'm not gonna lie. I came in unprepared as well, and I even told Future, like, he messaged me, like, what's the podcast gonna be about? And I was like, I have no clue. But the thing is, I haven't talked to him in a while, so I just go with the flow. I know
Yeah.
he runs his own team, I know he loves esports, so we're gonna start with that and we just see where it goes.
I mean, I think we've done pretty well for going off the cuff, I gotta say. I mean,
And just for going blanco in it, I gotta say that
it's
we have
pretty
done
good.
pretty good, if I'm gonna be honest.
Uh, I mean, I can throw you an off-topic
Do it.
top top three top three movies of all time for you.
Holy shit. Top 3 movies. Then first movie I'm gonna pick is from my childhood. This gonna sound so dumb as fuck, but you know that Pokemon movie where Pikachu and Charizard and all Ash's Pokemon are going to this park, and then this Charizard gets stuck with his head and he starts crying.
I don't know if I've ever seen a Pokemon movie.
Mm, bro, you missed you missed something growing up. Then I'm not gonna.
I mean, I
I
used to
will.
watch the show a little bit, but I was just like I wasn't a Pokemon kid.
I started this podcast with how proud I was of you, and now I gotta end this with how disappointed I am of you. That is so sad. No, but for real though. So I don't know what this movie was called, so that's why I explained it. Like Charizard was stuck with his head, and I don't know how old I was. I think I was like 4 maybe.
Jeez.
And when you were a kid, you have feelings and you don't really understand that it's a cartoon. So he started crying, and I was watching TV like crying like a baby. So I gotta say that's probably one of my favorite movies, only because of the memories I have of it and that I can laugh about it. Then I'm probably gonna say the Terminator. The reason why also is because when I was a child of it, I sneaked out of my room when I was not supposed to, and that movie was on, and that scared me for like a fucking couple of weeks. Like I was scared as a motherfucker. When it was dark and I was in the living room, I was just, believe me, Sonic was nothing compared to me. I was running like, meow. I need to go to my room
That's
because yeah, mate, the only thing I saw from that movie was that scary part where his face was half torn off, so you saw half robot, half human, and I was like, holy shit. And then I probably, as last movie, man, what was that? I love comedy movies a lot, and I just don't remember this. I think it was from Scary Movie. Yeah, it was scary. I don't know if it was Scary Movie 1, 2, 3, or 4, or maybe 5, but it was that one um, where they started having beef and they start pulling guns, and then out of nowhere, this guy just opens a truck and you see this whole as grenade launcher thing behind him, and he stands there with the button like, do we have a problem?
that's
So
a good list. That's a good list.
yeah, I think I have to go with that one.
Okay.
Uh,
Respect.
and top three for you?
Oh man, I've been trying to watch more movies lately, so I feel like it's kind of shifted from what I might have said like a year ago. So I think still my all-time favorite movie is honestly, fuck, it's such a toss-up. I'm such an indecisive person. I'll just name three that I really like in no particular order because I actually don't think I can name a legitimate top three.
Just go
But
for it.
Inception is
I've
an
seen it.
incredible fucking movie, dude. I remember watching it when I was like 12, maybe, like when it came out, and like I thought it was cool, but I didn't really like understand it. It was hard to follow, and I had asked my wife if she'd ever watched it, and that was a no. She's actually probably the most unfilm cultured person I've ever met. Like she just doesn't watch movies
Bring it
ever.
to the culture, bro. You have to
I
do it.
know. So I got her to watch Inception with me, and I think she liked it. And
Netflix and chill, Hulu and do you, you know?
but like after growing up and like being able to understand the concepts in the movie a little bit more, it just hit different. And I was like, dude, this movie's fucking incredible. Like this is so good. Um, so yeah, that's a top one for me. Um, Another one, The Godfather 2. I watched that one somewhat recently. Absolute banger.
I should have said Scarface. That one's also a banger.
That's one I've got to watch. See, I'm missing a lot of like classic from my like film experience.
Go for
I've watched a lot
Scarface,
of
bro. It's Scarface is.
yeah.
I have two like pictures or paintings in my house, like 350 euros a fucking piece. I have two of them hanging from Scarface, but it's my youth. I grew up with that shit. It's amazing. You need to watch it.
Yeah, no, I definitely need to check that out. Because I know that's like a huge like cultural impact, cult classic type of movie. Um,
Definitely.
Dude, and it's a toss up for me between like Goodwill Hunting or Inglorious Bastards, honestly, because I love Tarantino. Tarantino's like my favorite director. So Inglorious Bastards is up there. It's such a good movie, but Goodwill Hunting is like it's so like out of the realm of what the rest of the films that I named are too, because it's not like some like action slash drama, film bro type of movie. It's like I mean, pretty standard, I guess, in terms of like a drama or whatever you want to call it. But it's so introspective, and I mean, Matt Damon or fucking Matt Damon. Yeah. Am I losing my mind, dude? Who the fuck is in Good Will Hunting? Hold up. It's also been a couple years since I've seen it.
And here I am,
Yeah,
thinking I was the one smoking.
I don't know why I was getting Matt Damon and Leonardo DiCaprio confused for a second, and I was just like, it's probably because I was thinking of Inception still. Now I sound like an idiot for saying one of my favorite movies is Good Will Hunting, and I don't even know who the fuck is in it. But yeah, Matt Damon's incredible, and you know, dude, Robin Williams, holy shit, Robin Williams is incredible, and I think it made me appreciate Robin Williams more as an actor, because growing up I'd only ever seen him in like comedy type stuff like Jumanji and like RV. I don't even actually think I ever really watched the Nanny movie that he's in, Mrs. Doubtfire, but that was like the first like serious role I had seen Robin Williams in. He just like absolutely kills it, and yeah. So between those two, I mean, I can't really pick, but yeah, that's like my top movie list.
Fair enough. So, after everything, I am wondering though. Favorite eSports?
I think my favorite one overall probably is Halo, just because I got into it because I started playing the game, and I love the Optic Halo team, which my first and only LAN I've ever been to was a Halo event. It's pretty easy to get into. Like, it's a pretty simple game to follow. Like, there's nothing crazy going on. It's pretty simple game modes. And it's just fun to watch. But the only one that I really have like I've always kind of watched here and there, but I've always found myself enjoying it so much is CSGO. And I don't even really play CSGO ever. I have less than 100 hours in the game, but it is so much fun to watch CSGO at that level. Like, I love tuning into like the majors, like IEM, Katowice. I watched last year with Phase 1, and that was like so much fun to watch.
You wanna hear something funny? I have the same with CSGO. I don't play it, or literally rarely play it. I think I maybe have like 30-40 hours into the game. But I like watching it. Like, if I go on Twitch and there is no other competitive game going, like, I like Valorant the most, but that has to do with that I play it a lot. I play a lot of Valorant lately. So that's the reason why I watch it. So there goes my answer for what my favorite is, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, CS is just, there's something about it. I don't know why. I think
it's just simplistic to follow.
Yes.
It's simplistic. For an outsider, it is easy to follow and to understand what's going on, because there's no abilities or no crazy, some
Yeah.
weird stuff going on or special movements that happen. So it's just basically just, if you hear the commentators, one team mostly runs AKs or a sniper, and one sniper, and the other team has M4s, defuse the bomb, or plant the bomb, or kill each other. It's simplistic as that. Molotov, smoke grenade, regular grenades, knife, handguns. It's easy, and man, CSGO is just, I don't know. Also, if I see the crowd with CSGO, it's just like so living.
They go crazy for that, and it's like, it's CS:GO is like the soccer of esports. I feel like because like
I think
it's
so too.
so like it's so just everybody everywhere plays it,
I
and
know, or they
I think
know about it.
CS2 is just going to amplify that honestly, and I think CS2 is going to make the watching experience even better as well. With like how good everything is going to look. Um, I think it's going to make the viewership go up as well. But
I think as well.
yeah,
Which esports do you dislike the most?
man.
We all have an answer for what we like, but not what we dislike the most.
Yeah. So I actually play not so much anymore, but I used to play a shit ton of Rocket League, and I love the game. But honestly, I don't really like watching it that much. I kind of think it's boring to watch sometimes.
I have tried to watch it a couple times, Rocket Leagues, because, like I said, I love football or soccer for American people. So I was like, well, if I like that and I love it, then I should probably like this as well. First of all, I don't like playing the game. It just, I don't know why, I just don't like it. I have no reason for it. I don't hate it. I just
Yeah.
don't like it, you know. I feel like it's what it is. It's just not my game, not my type. But
Yeah, I
watching
feel like
it,
it's just that kind of game.
after for maybe 2, 3 minutes, I'm like, man,
It's kind of like it's almost like baseball in a way, where it's like it's boring until something happens. Like I don't know, I'm not like on the edge of my seat watching it, but when somebody scores and it's pretty sweet, I'm like, oh, that was cool, like nice. Kind of like
true.
baseball, where it's like if people keep striking out, you're kind of just like whatever, it's just base hits, it's like whatever. But then someone hits a home run, you're like, oh, cool. Um, but like with Halo and Call of Duty even too, which is another one I watch pretty often. Like Halo, it's like when it's down to like that game 5 and it's Slayer and they're within a couple kills of each other. I mean, we just had it with the last online event, Optic versus FaZe. Optic had like I want to say they had like 5 kills up on FaZe, and the clock was actually running down. The clock ended the game. They didn't even get to 50 kills. It was that close. They were just on each other the entire game, and that stuff is like to me is like riveting. Like I'm on the edge of my seat. Same with like a game 5 S&D or round 11 S&D and COD. Like I'm like watching every second of it. CS:GO, Valorant, whatever. I'm soaking it all in. But Rocket League, I'm just kind of like, yeah,
Man, I am actually stuck between my worst esports that I dislike the most. Is either Overwatch, because so much shit is going on,
yeah. I forgot about Overwatch. Honestly, I would probably make that my worst.
or this answer gonna sound stupid as fuck, because Aero has a League of Legends team, but watching it just pains my eyes. I don't understand it. I don't know what's going on. When the commentator is talking about stuff, I actually just want to smack my monitor because I just don't even fucking understand it. When I play the game, I get so mad.
Yeah, I've tried playing it. It's not. It was horrible. It was like I just couldn't figure it out. I actually don't mind watching it to an extent. Like they made a comedy documentary series about a League of Legends team last summer. And I watched that with my wife, and that's actually what got me into playing League because I thought the series was cool. And I really only watched it because it was esports related. I have no League knowledge whatsoever, but I just wanted to check it out. And it was a pretty good series, so it got me into League. But I don't watch it. I don't hate it. I just don't watch it because I'm not involved with it. But yeah, Overwatch, the same thing. There's just so much shit happening all at once. I literally don't know what's going on, and I'm like, how is anybody supposed to follow this? But I'm sure there's people who are like, oh, you're stupid. It's simple, but to me, it's not simple.
It's not simple at all, trust me. Yeah, no. No, but with League of Legends, it's like the reason why Aero got into it is because I want to understand it because it's such a big game, you know?
Absolutely.
So I feel like League of Legends is one of those culture things in esports, you know?
Yeah.
It made esports big to a certain extent, and I want to understand it so, you know, that I can get into the culture more as well because I started out with Call of Duty and Call of Duty competitive, and that's been it for a long time.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, I work at this fast food restaurant, and I have a co-worker that's actually our League of Legends manager now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he has some experience in it. Regarding competitive, he's also casted a few games and stuff. I've seen it all, and he was high ranked and stuff. And he made a decent amount of money playing of it and casting of it. So, and he was into talks with one team, and it basically didn't turn out the way he wanted. So then he and me got into discussion, and I was like, why not? If you teach me stuff about League of Legends, I'm down to have you guys in. And that's basically how we got into League of Legends. It also makes it a lot easier because when we have a tournament or a league and something is not going well, this guy literally lives in the same city as me. If I go with the car, he's like 8 minutes away from me, so I just can literally go to his house like, bro, explain.
Help me out.
Help me out.
Yeah, that's sweet. That's one thing I kind of that's what kind of sucks about living in Texas right now is because my two other co-owners of the org live in Maine, and they live on like opposite sides of the state, so it doesn't really help them at all. But at some point, I'm gonna be living back there, and I'll be closer to one of them, so we'll kind of be able to do that, and that'll be really nice. And I'll be able to go like watch our Smash players and whatnot. But for right now, like I'm literally on my own out here. Like nobody out here is part of the org with me. One
And
of my friends that
if you go back there and you are back with the two other owners in the same state, even though if everybody lives apart, you guys maybe should actually do like maybe twice a month or something, or once a month a gathering,
yeah.
and then just once a month or twice so that everyone's on the same page, know what needs to be done. If anyone has complaints, you guys can crop it up till that moment so that you guys are together, so it's also easier to figure something out, or come with ideas or get the issues out of the way.
Yeah, I think that'll be super helpful when I can move back there.
That's just my advice for you guys. I mean, I have been owning a team for a long time now, so I can talk a little bit about it. It's been almost
Yeah,
8 years now, like most people know that I own Aero and created it.
that's crazy.
I
That's a long
know.
time. I
And
feel like 3 years has been a long time, or 2 years has been a long time that I've had Maineiacs, and it's just like gone by like that.
man, those 8 years that I think in November 25th, I think me and Charlie made Aero on that day 8 years.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's sweet though. I mean, you've done a lot of great things with it, and I know you've always been proud of it, and I've always kept up with it and kind of followed along with what you guys have been doing. It's just been awesome to see some of the things you guys have been doing.
appreciate it, man. And I know that you have been keeping up because sometimes, I run the Twitter as well, so I know that you like it sometimes or share it, or so I really appreciate it. You're one of the few people that no longer is with us but still keeps up or still said like, hey guys, I'm leaving, I'm still gonna support you guys, and actually still does it no matter what we do. I mean, of course, if we ever fuck up big time or I fuck up in a major way, I do really hope that you still gonna be one of those guys that, of course, if we fuck or I fucked up majorly and you stop supporting, I understand, but I do hope that you're gonna be one of those people that's gonna reach out like, hey bro, you fucked up, you better apologize or whatsoever.
Oh yeah, I got your back, man. No worries.
Because I know that I will do the same for you. I have did it with multiple people as well. So, but yeah, I appreciate it. I really do. I also want to thank you a lot for coming onto this podcast as my second guest, basically, or my third guest, but my second guest on the second podcast, of course. So this time I'm alone as well for the first time. So I'm glad I got to do this with you. I'm still not comfortable on this camera, but hey, like I said, I am with someone that makes me feel a bit more comfortable, and I will keep doing that with people that I know till I get more comfortable to get to with people outside it, or I gonna give it a try soon. Who knows?
No, I super appreciate you having me on. Like, uh, I know it wasn't necessarily like an invite, but you know, I saw you
Well,
reaching, trying to get some people on, and I was like, well,
basically it was an invite because I made a tweet. You replied with ice, and I just slide in those DMs like, "Hey, bro,
yeah,
if you wanna be on this podcast, I wanna have you."
yeah, man, absolutely. And if you ever want me back, I'm down to do it. Literally, whenever.
Because the funniest part is, before I made this tweet, I actually made a list of people who I wanted to reach out with if that tweet didn't get any attractions, and I think he was like probably, I think he was in my top 3 or in my top 5 of people to
Oh,
invite for this podcast to have you on anyway. So I'm probably
that's
gonna
good, man.
invite you in the future again because I had a blast.
Yeah, man. I mean, uh, I really appreciate having me on here, and I think it's awesome. You guys doing this. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while. So maybe you'll get me back into it too. Um,
If you ever need a guest, just hit me up, bro. I got
I
you.
got I got you.
I got you. I got you. Also, if you ever need any help with anything, or if you ever need advice or any help in general, with no matter what, if it's with main or just in personal with anything, even not gaming related, you can always hit me up
Absolutely, man.
because we know each other for a long time, and you actually, for me personally, you feel as a friend of mine because we go way back. We've been through a lot of ups, we've been through a couple of downs as well. I mean, as a team owner, I cannot say that I always been a holy one. I made some dumbass decisions.
Hey, it happens. It happens.
It happens to the best of us, but we learn from it. But I really appreciate you for coming on, talking with me a little bit about your team, about eSports and other teams, and basically everything in between.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
next time we're gonna maybe schedule this a little bit better so that we have topics that we can actually, have hammered beforehand. But
Hey, I think we killed it for no topics, honestly.
basically, I think as well. I think as well. I think I find it as well because the first podcast we did had topics written down, but I don't know. It was the first time for me going on camera, like recording a podcast.
Yeah,
So it was pretty new, and I didn't really knew what to do. I still don't know really what to do. I just go with anything, and I just hope to improve with every podcast, and we see how it goes. So, but yeah, I really hope to have you back soon or one day again, and then discuss some more stuff. And I really hope that you and Maine are gonna succeed. That you guys gonna make a big name for yourself. And yeah, like I said, if you ever need anything, you can hit me up, and I'll see what I can do for you.
for sure, man. Thank you.
So yeah, I really appreciate it, bro. So yeah, that was it for today. Then I hope for everyone watching that everyone enjoyed it as much as I did. I don't know if Seth enjoyed it. I think he did.
I had a great
Sometimes,
time.
sometimes he smiled, sometimes he didn't. So it's pretty. I don't know. I don't know.
I was smiling on the inside.
Smiling on the inside. No, but if anyone made it this far, please like. I hate to plug this, but like, subscribe maybe. I don't know. Leave a comment. I will link set his Twitter in the descriptions together with his team. So if anyone is interested that is still watching at this point, you guys can check them out as well and maybe join them or just support them in what they are doing. I know Seth personally is a great guy, a lovely person. He always wants the best for everyone. And yeah, if you ask me, he really deserves more support and more love than he is getting. But everyone, there are a lot of underrated people, and this guy is one of them.